Jeff, I take it by the reason that you're doing this so early that you didn't actually complete a trade right before the deadline. So I'm wondering what your thinking was in not making some kind of a move.
Yeah, we haven't we didn't do a deal today, Colin. Really, listen, we made a number of calls, took a number of calls, went through a number of scenarios. I think it's clear that we have a plan in place, and nothing that came along was going to add to what we wanted to do, and was something we felt was going to help us short term or long term. So that's probably why the biggest reason why today we didn't make a deal.
Hey Jeff, what does it say about where you are in this process that for the first time in 4 years you weren't selling?
Well, I think there's a few things in play there. That, over the last few years we've had several UFAs, and the timing was right to move for some assets. For now, our team we have a lot of young players that we like and we're happy with, and not interested in trading, and we have some players that some NHL players have been in the league for a while that we weren't comfortable moving off of. I think it says that we're moving in the right direction. There's a lot to be thankful for and to be excited about going forward. And as we move forward, there wasn't a deal in place right now, and we're happy with our team as is for now.
Jeff, I have two questions. One, did you get interest in Tony DeAngelo? And two, can you address the signing of Zach Jones, why you signed him, why you're willing to burn a year, and if you expect him to actually play games for you this season?
Sure. Hi, Larry. On number one there, on Tony, yeah, I've had some conversation with some teams about Tony, but nothing really ever materialized, and nothing lately. So that'll be a summer issue we'll deal with. As far as Zach, I've heard what's out there. I'm not prepared to talk about that. I'll if and when Zach signs as a Ranger, I'll be more than happy to talk to you about the signing.
Hey Jeff, I'm wondering, how you struck today as a balancing act, because your team's in a playoff race, but you still have these long-term visions in mind. And was it difficult to not do something right now that might have been able to help the team, but could have hurt you long-term? I mean, I don't know what you had on your plate there, but was that a tough act to balance, I guess, there?
I mean, listen, I think it's always hard to look at, if you're trying to do two different things at once. The focus really was not going for rentals. You see most of the trades today was the rental market trades. Really wasn't interested in renting players. I feel like as you look at our team right now, there's a lot of good things happening. A lot of people are getting added ice time and doing well with it. I didn't want to bring in players to take from that. I think our team's playing well. I think we got a big stretch coming up, and we take day by day. But I'll be curious to see our team over the next 15 games to see how we respond to playing these big games and where we can take it from there.
Jeff, as a follow-up to that, how important is it for this franchise to make the playoffs this year?
Bruce, it's a good question. I think our focus has been that we're trying to get better all the time. We're trying to play as many games, meaningful games, take one day at a time as we can, and then let the chips fall where they may. As you know, we're in a very difficult division, and we've hung in there pretty well. We have, like I said, 15 games to go. We have a big week coming up. Obviously, a lot of games here coming with Jersey, so we'll focus on that and see what happens. But I'm happy that our games right now are meaningful. Our guys are developing. You're seeing these young kids get better, and I feel like our team's is playing as good as we have maybe all year.
Yeah, you may have answered this in different ways, but what is your assessment of your team's season?
I would say, listen, it depends. A lot of times when you ask that question, it just depends on the timing when you're asking the question. I think based on the 2 games we just played in the Islanders, I'm really happy with the way things are going. Like I said, the young kids you're seeing the strides they're making, you're seeing the opportunities they're getting, and it's hard not to feel good about the Rangers' future and where we're headed. There's been some tough losses. I think if a week ago, if you asked me after the Buffalo where we lost in the shootout, you probably would have got me at the wrong time. I would have been unhappy with what's going on. But listen, as a whole, I really believe that our team is moving in the right direction. That there's a lot to be excited about, and like I said, I'm excited about what's next and this week and where we're going.
With the success that we've seen in short term from Vitali coming over from the KHL, I'm wondering if you have an idea of maybe getting Niels Lundqvist over here after the SHL season is over. Is that something that I'm sure it's something you've considered, but is that something that's likely?
Well, listen, we have talked to him, obviously, a number of times, and he's had a great year. He's had a great career over there. I think that, the way it works in Europe is, it's difficult to get top players over here at the end of the season because of the World Championships, and we're pretty certain that he's going to be part of that mix. So, I think our focus is when he comes over, it'll be for next season. But listen, we're watching every game like everybody else, and really excited about what we're seeing and the time that he can become a Ranger.
Jeff, Alexei came in with so much hype this year, #1 pick. What are your thoughts on his season so far?
I think predictable in a lot of ways. There's early on, having not played for a year, so I think early on predictable. I think as of late, I think you're seeing the big strides. I think his game is coming. I think the last few games in particular, he's been an offensive threat almost every shift. That line has really played well. I'm really excited. I think that the competitiveness shows through on most nights. His skill is off the charts, and you're just starting to see. I think a lot of times, you look and you're seeing, let's say, Kravtsov a year later. The difference is remarkable to all of our eyes. So that's exciting. Kako in 1 year's time, how much better he is, and his 200-foot game, and then to think, what Alexei will be like in a year's time. It's hard not to be excited. But overall, listen, we're watching him every day in practice do special things. We know it's only a matter of time before you're seeing it in games like we see it. So we're really excited where he's at.
A, would you expect Morgan Barron to be up at some point? And B, are the young guys in Hartford getting the same kind of development they would in a normal year? I mean, are you able to assess their progress? Are they making the same kind of progress that they would in a normal season?
I'll answer A because I think it's a little easier first. But I think Morgan's played extremely well, and we've retained. We'll have 4 recalls, so I hope it'll be hopeful to get him an opportunity or anybody that deserves it down there. So, we'll keep him down there for now, see how he does. But he's certainly opened our eyes with what he's done. So we're looking at that, along with some other players down there too. So as far as is it a normal year? Are we getting the proper development? I think so. There's obviously more practice time. There's no more than 2 games a week, which is difficult. Obviously, they're only playing a 24-game season, so it's not exactly what we want. But I do believe that the staff down there and our development staff is doing a really good job of keeping them engaged, using the practice time, using the time off the ice in the gym, doing all the things we can to make them all better. I think if you look down there, their seasons actually, they're probably playing better than they have all year, and a lot of those guys have turned the corner and playing well.
Yeah, if you said you made some calls and you took some calls, you obviously weren't going to be big sellers, but were there maybe some lower profile moves that you opted not to make because of your position in the, in the hunt for a playoff spot, that maybe you could have picked up a draft pick if you moved the guy and you just opted not to do that?
Listen, there's a lot of rental players out there. I think you're seeing them as I'm sitting here. They're probably more being announced. Those opportunities were all there. Listen, did we want to bring in another defenseman and take away from Libor? Did we want to, let his development? Do we want to bring in somebody else to take away from, change the Heedle line right now? Those are all things we had to go through as we're looking at that. And, were they going to make us, how much better were they going to make us versus development? Those are all questions we're asking on every call we're taking. So at the end of the day, it just, the rental market didn't seem like a place that was the right time for us.
Jeff, I asked you about Alexi, but I have to ask you about Adam Fox. I'm curious, when you brought Adam Fox in, acquired him, is he the player that you thought you were getting, or has he exceeded those expectations even?
No, I think he's better than. I I'm not that smart. I would say, listen, we knew he was talented. We've watched him a lot. We knew he was from the area. We knew a lot about him as a person. There was a lot that goes into it, and he played the U.S. program. He played the World Juniors. He played at Harvard. We're all friendly with Teddy Donato, so we had a really good book on him. But anybody that tells you they know what a guy's going to do till they get to the NHL, it might be fibbing a little bit. And his hockey sense, his compete is sneaky good. There's not a lot of holes in his game, and obviously he's fitting really well, and we're proud of where he's at. And I believe he can get better. There's some areas that I know that Adam knows he can get better at, and will get better at. So, great acquisition for us to have him, and at his age, and just excited what could the ceiling could be for him.